My son was known as a child prodigy guitarist, and on the day of the National Youth Classical Music Competition, he was voted #1 in the online polls, but failed to win. My son was in a trance and fell off the stage as he was exiting the competition. I rushed to help my son, but I saw my wife holding her old flame son and holding up the trophy. Next to the planner, and the director playfully laughed. Being the son of Mr. Jiang is good. The champion is easy to come by. Why? Who says it's not? Wang Chen's playing is really good. But who let him have no mom and no background? My heart shattered. I didn't expect Victoria Jiang to blackmail her own son for her old flame son. My son, however, climbed up strongly with a head full of blood and grabbed my hand. Dad. This mom. I don't want it. I firmly backed to hold his hand. Good. You do not want. I do not want. 1. When Victoria Jiang came back, my son had already been put to bed by me. Seeing me sitting in the living room, she was unsurprised, and as always, walked over and threw a divorce agreement in front of me. You weren't satisfied with the last one. This time I've adjusted the asset distribution upwards to 30 for you. Is that enough? Lucas Wong, don't be too unaware of what you're getting. Instead of begging her not to divorce like in the past, I calmly picked up the divorce agreement and flipped through it. Sure enough, it was again the same as in the past. The company's assets were not to be touched, and it was only the remaining cash flow from the property that she was willing to take out 30 for me. But on what grounds? The company was supported by me. And the non-disclosure of the relationship was also because of her little pride and vanity. I didn't retire to the background to make room for her old flame father and son. I threw the agreement back onto the coffee table and looked up to meet her with a I knew it look of disdain. I just looked at her calmly before asking the question that was on my mind. So, today's use of means to snatch away Morn's championship was also to force me to divorce. Victoria Jiang froze, seemingly surprised by my calmness. However, she quickly came back to her senses and remained in the same condescending manner. I use means. Could it be that you don't use them? Qinchin is already gifted in his own right, and you even took her to master classes and showed off on the self-media. If it wasn't for your operational tactics, could he have so many fans at such a young age? Is this fair to Zhe? What's wrong with me helping him out? Xiao Zhe worked so hard. This is all what he deserves. It's time to show your son that talent is nothing to be proud of. I laughed in anger as I listened to her righteous defense. Qinchin had been preparing for this competition for 3 years. During these 3 years, just practicing the difficult operation of 6-note arpeggio made him suffer a lot. Even when he was sick, he insisted on practicing, not daring to slack off every single day. She, the real mom, only saw the efforts of others. Even in her eyes, giftedness has become a mistake. Love or no love, it's really clear at a glance, seeing that I didn't say anything. Victoria Jiang snorted coldly and withdrew her silk scarf to sit back on the sofa. Pour me a glass of water. I did not move, and the moment I looked down, I happened to see her cell phone screen light up. An inquiring text from her old flame. Did he agree? I couldn't help but let out a snort. Victoria Jiang gave me a warning glare and brought her phone up to unlock it before her fingers tapped rapidly on the screen. After sending the message, she grabbed her jacket and headed out the door again. I frowned and stopped her. Morning fell off the stage today and hurt her head. Where are you? Mom. Going if not to accompany her. Morning fell off the stage. No. What's wrong with you as a father? You don't do anything all day long. You can't even look at a baby. What else can you do? My attempts to stay were only rewarded with a scolding from Victoria Jiang. After the rebuke, she gave me an impatient blank look, but she had no intention of staying. I have urgent matters. You take care of Qinchin. The urgent matter in her mouth was nothing more than going to accompany Ethan Shin's father and son. Seeing her walk to the door to change her shoes, without even the intention of opening the door to her room to look at Qinchin. I couldn't help but clench my fists. Victoria Jiang. Do you like being a cheap mom to people that much? Victoria Jiang turned her head to look at me, narrowing her eyes dangerously. Lucas Wang. Don't be a bitch. A well-behaved and simple child like Xiaozhi deserves my love. So, Qinchin and I are just not worthy. Watching her fling the door shut without hesitation, I laughed coldly in my heart. Since that's the case, Victoria Jiang, you don't deserve me to show you any more mercy. That night, I didn't go back to the master bedroom, but instead squeezed into my son's cot with him. He listened to my stories, told me secrets, and for the first time, didn't mention Victoria Jiang at all. I knew that he, like me many years ago, was completely dead to Victoria Jiang. In fact, as early as Ethan Shin returned to China, Victoria Jiang left me with a fever to pick up the plane. I don't want her as a person. But Qinchin didn't want us to divorce. He didn't want to be a child in a singleparent household and didn't want to lose his mom. I refused to divorce Victoria Jiang because I didn't want Qinchin's growth to be affected. However, I did not expect that Victoria Jiang's favoritism towards Ethan Shin and his son would go so far as to hurt her own son. I touched Qinchin's little face with pity, and felt deeply indebted to him. The next day, the city rained heavily. The rare silence at the dinner table made Victoria Jiang a little uncomfortable. Victoria Jiang coughed softly, touched Qinchin's head and said, "Qinchin, today Mom will send you to school, okay?" At those words, my fingers that were contacting a cab stopped. Qinchin was not as happy as Victoria Jiang imagined. She just looked at the heavy rain outside the window in silence and nodded calmly. Such an attitude made Victoria Jiang frown and stood up with a sound of miso, dragging me to the kitchen. Lucas Wang. Was it you who badmouthed me to your son? No. I shrugged off her hand impatiently. Victoria Jiang grunted and laughed. If you didn't, how come Qinchin treats me this way? He used to love talking to me. I let out a low laugh. Yes, Qinchin used to love talking to her. Every breakfast he had to chirp and share with her what he had seen and heard. But what did Victoria Jiang do? Her patience with Qinchin never lasted more than 10 minutes before she would put on a stern face and lecture him. Qinchin, don't say anything when you eat. Don't say anything when you sleep. And behave yourself at the table. Whenever she hears these words, Qinchin always falls silent with a disappointed look on his face. Victoria Jiang never thought that behind Qinchin's chattering is the heart of a son who longs to be close to his mother. Qinchin has never been an unruly child. It's just that Victoria Jiang is too busy. She leaves early and comes home late, and either has social engagements or works overtime at the company. The only time she spends with her is for breakfast every morning. And Victoria Jiang never realizes that she will always be the missing piece of the family. My laughter irritated Victoria Jiang, who gave me a sharp tug and rebuked me. Why are you laughing when I asked you a question? You're passive-aggressive day after day like this. The kids are being brought down by you. I don't turn my head away. Meeting the line of sight cast by Qinchin, the fire in my heart instantly extinguished. Nothing. Just happy for you. Morn listened to you and remembered the rules at the table. Is that so? Victoria Jiang wasn't much happier to hear that. I ignored her misgivings and walked back to the table to ask Qinchin in a low voice. Do you really want Mom to send it? Qinchin nodded his little head. Every time it rains Daddy has to wet his clothes and shoes to protect me. And Qinchin is heartbroken. I smiled and touched his little head. Still a little worried that Victoria Jiang couldn't take care of the child well. But the injury on your head. Before we both finished wrestling with it, Victoria Jiang's cell phone rang. She picked up no more than 2 minutes. Then quickly walked over to say, Qinchin, today or Dad send it. Mom has something to deal with. Without waiting for the two of us to speak, she rushed out the door. I looked worriedly at Qinchin, who wasn't sad or disappointed at all. but just skimmed his lips and shrugged at me. Looks like it's going to be hard on my old dad after all. I laughed at his amusement and wrapped my arms around him. My old father is happy to do so. Who made you my old father's pride and joy? After dropping off Chin Chin at school, I had just gotten into the taxi when Victoria Jiang's car pulled up next to me. She got down from the driver's side, holding an umbrella, and thoughtfully went around to the back seat to pull open the door and carry Xinjia out. Ethan Shin followed me out to hold the umbrella for them, and very naturally wrapped his arm around Victoria Jiang's shoulders. I frowned slightly. When did Xinjia also transfer to this school? Victoria Jiang carried Xinjia all the way to the school's entrance before putting him down. Xinjia tugged on the hem of Victoria Jiang's coat, and she obediently squatted down before Xinjia kissed her on the side of her face. Victoria Jiang's smile was amplified, and she also hugged and kissed Xinjia. It's really a happy family of three. One's own biological son has never enjoyed a day like this. I smiled sarcastically and urged the driver to start the car. But Victoria Jiang and Ethan Shin's good mood didn't last half a day. The champion's shady business exploded on the internet. In less than 24 hours, a hot search rushed onto the screen. The triennial National Youth Classical Music Competition is suspected to have a finalist: big competition, big production, or big shady. Internet votes for the first Little Prince, the show seen by the judges Waterloo Pass 4 in a row. The judge's favorite is actually him. I randomly clicked into a hot search, which a water of abuse of the program and the judges. The 6-note arpeggio little contestant is obviously highly skilled. The proficiency of the instrument is also to the point of handy. Such a performance. The judges to play 3 points. The judges gave this performance a score of 3. Can you not donate your eyeballs? Shady. This program group is absolutely shady. Xinjia's violin is not bad, but it's too moderate. Even the tune he chose is not difficult. Not as interesting as the 3rd place. How can he surpass the 2nd place Wang Chen? Whoops. He's only 8 years old. At an age when others can't even understand sweeping strings, he knows 6-note arpeggio. Dog director. Give him back a statement, or I'll knife you. Don't argue. A god has already picked out. That Shin's kid's mom is executive producer's secretary. Champion. A pillow win thing. Wang Chen's online vote in the 3rd round of the competition left the other contestants in the dust. Didn't the program group say it was fair and impartial? But why didn't they make the online vote public in the finals? When I was about to scroll down, Victoria Jiang's phone call came. Lucas Wang. Are you behind all these things on the internet? Why are you so venomous now? On the basis that you've been playing with the internet for a few years, you won't even let a child go. I'm warning you. Now level these things on the internet right now, or else suffer the consequences. With a rant, she hung up without even giving me a chance to give a word of explanation. I looked at the cell phone screen and couldn't help but laugh in anger. Although the public opinion fermented so quickly, and there was no lack of pushback from Chen Chen's fans in it, but we weren't so capable in the end to get the attention of the entire internet. In the end, this mess is Victoria Jiang's own hands put out. Wanting to insider the winner, favoring the first few issues and making a big deal about fairness and impartiality, the votes were all made public. Later, Chen Chen's votes are too high. By Water Army cannot catch up. Had to directly not open network votes, but the host read a string of numbers randomly. Doing the game cannot be understood. Full of loopholes. Nowadays, the netizens are all human beings. Who can spoil you? Anyway, I don't have the ability to calm this public opinion. Even if I did, why would I help the other woman's child? I'm not the reincarnation of the Virgin Mary. It's just that I didn't expect that Victoria Jiang could be so heartless as to help Xinjia. She had the program team release a statement on the official blog. The program team should really say sorry to everyone. Before, out of the consideration of the protection of children, the program team hid some internal information. Considering the impact of network public opinion on Shinja's children, the program team decided to make the truth public after many communications. In fact, Wang Qin children cheated on the day of the competition. The accompaniment given to the program group is the full accompaniment, and the guitar in his hands is a lightweight props guitar, so it can easily do 6-note arpeggio, and the movement is smooth, full tone. This matter was found by the program group, Wang Qin children's father Mr. Wang to the program group to plead for mercy. Considering that the children are still young and have no mother, cannot easily ruin the child's future. So the arrangement. It is the program group is not well thought out. Here, bow to the whole netizen to apologize. We stand upright to be beaten. Only please netizens to be kind to the children. When this statement was first issued, it was followed by an avalanche of anger and mockery. They said, no wonder such a small child can do 6-note arpeggio. The original is props plus playback performance. They said, have long suspected, the guitar national player are not necessarily able to complete such a high degree of difficulty of the action. How can an 80-year-old child? This is not defy all logic. They said, no mother can cheat. They say you can cheat without mom. This dad looks like he's just trying to get sympathy. Kids like this just deserve to be taught a lesson. My fingers pinched the screen of my cell phone tightly and I was so angry that my body was trembling. Seeing the time of those comments, I almost dared to conclude that those are Victoria Jiang's bot water army. The purpose is all to guide public opinion. But does she know what this means to Qinchin? She is trying to ruin Qinchin's future. With red eyes, I hurriedly dialed Victoria Jiang's number. The moment I picked up, her cold laugh came from the other end of the line. Lucas Wang, you know you're scared now, but I'm telling you. It's too late. It's useless for you to beg me. You're the one who did this to Xiaozhi first. I couldn't hold back and roared into the phone. Victoria Jiang, Qinchin is your son. Your own son. Are you trying to destroy him? Victoria Jiang snorted. Don't make the issue so serious. It's just an interest class. Even if Qinchin doesn't do anything in the future, can I still short him food and clothing? But Xiaozhi is different. He's pitiful enough without a mom in itself. All right. I'm very busy. I don't have the time to talk to you about this. I advise you to be peaceful too. Don't make any more small moves. This time, Victoria Jiang really stepped on my bottom line. I took the hung-up phone, went into the bedroom, took out our marriage certificate from the safe, real estate, etc. All the documents that can prove my relationship with Victoria Jiang were photographed by me. Victoria Jiang, I'm going to mutually assured destruction with you. I was planning to upload the photos, edit the text to publicize my relationship with Victoria Jiang, and expose Ethan Chen as the other woman when Qinchin's teacher called. Hey, Qinchin's father. Something happened to Qinchin at school. Please come here quickly. Listening to the teacher's urgent words, my heart was beating wildly. While running downstairs, I used my cell phone to call a taxi. Because I was in a hurry, I stepped on my foot and fell down the stairs. Not caring about the pain, I got up and continued to run. Just as I reached the office door, I heard the voice of Qinchin's language teacher. Director, let's put aside the mediation with the parents first. It's imperative that we send the child to the hospital first. What's going on? Who's hurt? Just as he was about to push open the door, Ethan Shin's shrill voice rang out with him. This teacher, I know you're worried about your child's injury. But the parents are not available. And if you rush to send the child like this, and something happens to the child on the way, can you take the responsibility? I've already said that my wife is already on her way here, and I'll recognize whatever amount of money they want to pay when the time comes. But if you take away the child now and aggravate the child's injury, I won't be the wrongdoer. You. The teacher was too angry to speak. I frowned as I listened, and in my heart, I had already guessed that it was Shinja who had a conflict with Chinchin. Just before pushing open the office door, I never thought that Chinchin would be hurt so badly. He was leaning on the language teacher's arms. His face and lips were blanched. His hands were covered in blood, dripping down to the ground, and his whole body seemed to be very cold, shivering all the time. Chinchin, how did you get hurt like this? I rushed to my son and raised my hand to hug him, but I was afraid of touching his wounds. When Chinchin saw me, tears instantly filled his eyes. After holding back for a long time, he finally cried out with a wow. Daddy. I'm in pain. The language teacher was visibly relieved and handed Chinchin over to me. Chinchin's father, quickly take the child to the hospital. Chinchin's injury has been dragging on for almost an hour. I took the child from her, said thank you and was about to leave. Just as I turned around, Ethan Shin stopped in front of me. Brother issue. I'm sorry. Xiaoxia just wanted to play a joke on Chinchin. I didn't expect it to come to this. But don't worry. We will definitely compensate Chinchin. Zaya's mom is already on her way here. She has money. You can ask for as much as you want at that time. I didn't have the time to look deeply into who the wife in his mouth was. I only wanted to quickly send Chinchin to the hospital. So, I pushed him unceremoniously. Get lost. Ethan Shin was staggered a step by my push, and his back hit the desk. His face pained. Seeing this, Chinchin casually picked up the teacher's straight edge on the desk and threw it hard on Chinchin's wound. Bastard. Hit my father. I'll kill your son. Chinchin let out a miserable scream. In pain until cold sweat seeped out of the corners of his forehead. My heart was like a knife, and I subconsciously slapped Shinja. This scene happened to be seen by Victoria Jiang, who had just arrived. She looked at me and her face darkened. Lucas Wong, how dare you hit a child? Ethan Shin stood behind her at the right time, holding his waist. Wife. I reasoned with brother issue properly, but he did it again and again to our father and son. Shinja also hugged Victoria Jiang's retreat, whimpering and crying. Mom. Xiaoxia is in pain. Mom stood up for Xiaoxia. Wife. Mom. I snorted and turned around with Chinchin in my arms. But unexpectedly, even Victoria Jiang came to stop me. She yanked my arm violently, tugging me into a stagger and almost dislodging her hand and letting Chinchin fall to the ground. Lucas Wong, what's with the attitude? Apologize. I backhanded her across the face. Apologize. Victoria Jiang, can't you see your son is bleeding? Victoria Jiang's eyes then landed on Chinchin and her face went pale. I sniffled and said to Victoria Jiang, Victoria Jiang, don't you want a divorce? Tomorrow at 10 o'clock. They'll be waiting for you at Lawyer Zhou's place, and I won't let go of what happened today. After saying that, no one stopped me anymore. I hugged my son and walked out of the school without looking back. Chinchin Dad, I'll accompany you. Just after walking out of the school gate, the language teacher chased after me with her bag. I was slightly taken aback. After all, everyone else in the office looked like they really didn't want to get into this mess. The language teacher smiled at me. I have a car, so that's convenient. I gratefully followed her to the car. On the way, I learned from her that Chinchin's injury was indeed related to Shinja. Chinchin had to go to his teacher's place for a guitar lesson every day after school, so he practically carried his guitar with him. And Shinja, who had only been transferred for a day, had to sit next to Chinchin himself. The class teacher guessed that she was Victoria Jiang's son, given that Victoria Jiang was the one who handled his transfer, so she didn't dare to offend him, so she let him go. The class teacher guessed that she was Victoria Jiang's son, so she let him go. But she didn't dare offend her. When Chinchin came back, the two kids had a fight. When Chinchin came back, the two kids had a fight, and in order to get his guitar back, he somehow got his hand stuck in the strings. Xinjia, whether intentionally or unintentionally, tugged on the guitar and pulled it towards him. When the string got stuck in Qinchin's flesh and bled, he didn't let go and beat Qinchin on the ground. It was only after the teacher came that the two were separated. The teacher didn't dare to move Qinchin's hand because the string was embedded very deeply. But Qinchin cried while pulling her hand out by herself. The teacher criticized Xinjia when he contacted his parents, but Xinjia even said, "It's okay to hit. It's not going to kill me. And anyway, my mom has money and can pay for it." Teachers are speechless to Xinjia, but they don't dare to do anything to him. After all, we are all ordinary people and can't afford to offend Jiang's big brother. When the language teacher was about to take Qinchin to the school infirmary to treat his wounds, Ethan Shin came. He stopped the teacher and didn't allow anyone to take Qinchin away, saying that he had to wait for me to arrive to deal with it. After hearing this, I hated my guts and immediately called the police. After arriving at the hospital, the doctor looked at Qinchin's injuries and had a somewhat stony expression on his face. How come every wound is cut so deeply? There's also a bone fracture on the hand, bone cracks. I would turn to the teacher and inquire with my eyes. The language teacher also frowned, looking confused. Other than that, I really don't know. At that moment, my son spoke low in my arms. It was Tetsu who tried to smash my guitar, and when I stopped it with my hand, it hit my hand. I was heartbroken beyond words and hugged him tighter and tighter. Silly boy. How is the guitar more important than you? Don't ever do that again. Okay. Qinchin nodded, but he couldn't help the worry in his eyes. Daddy. Will Morning still be able to play the guitar in the future? The doctor smiled and touched the top of her head. It's possible. Oh, it's just a minor surgery. Qinchin should cheer up. While Qinchin was in surgery, the police called, saying that the school's surveillance memory was full, and that they hadn't stored today's video. But they were quick to reassure me again, saying that they would question other children and teachers in the class. When I hung up the phone, the language teacher next to me looked puzzled. Several times I felt she had something to say and she was silent. Finally, I took the initiative to speak up and break it. The teacher seems to have something to say. The language teacher gritted her teeth and sent me a surveillance video on her cell phone. Actually, the surveillance wasn't a full memory. It was deleted by the school authorities under pressure from Mr. Jiang. This piece of surveillance. I had a friend in the surveillance room copy it to me today in order to understand what happened. At those words I had mixed feelings in my heart. Victoria Jiang again. She has already seen her own son injured so seriously, but still chose to help Ethan Shin father and son. Victoria Jiang, you are a mother in vain. When Victoria Jiang arrived, Qinchin had just been sent back to the ward from the operating room. When Victoria Jiang came to the hospital, Qinchin had just been sent back to the ward from the operating room. Looking at Qinchin, who was still sleeping because of the anesthesia, a rare trace of guilt flashed across Victoria Jiang's face. Lucas Wong, let's go out and talk. Although I didn't really want to take care of her, if she made a scene in the hospital room, she would wake up mourn. Thinking about this, I took the lead and walked out of the ward. Victoria Jiang followed me out, let out a long sigh, and said, on the police's side, in withdrawing the case. I whooshed my head and glared at her, gritting my teeth in hatred. Victoria Jiang, how dare you? Victoria Jiang had rarely seen me this angry, and looked stunned for a split second. Ishu, listen to me. Xiaozhi is still young. His temper is a little bit bigger, but he is also unintentional. Xiaozhi is only 8 years old. It's already pitiful that he doesn't have a mother. Kids fight with each other. Don't be so catty and make a scene to the police. Is it nice? My anger reached its peak and I slapped her hard once again. Victoria Jiang, from the time you entered the hospital room until now, You didn't ask a single question about how your son is doing. Is the injury serious? Instead, you're full of pity for the one who did the harm. What's it to me that he's pitiful? Is his pity caused by me or by Chinchin? Is my Chinchin not pitiful if he is pitiful? Don't use these morals to kidnap me. I'm telling you, I won't spare anyone who harms my son. Victoria Jiang was both angry and shocked when I hit her once again. But she held her breath back for the sake of Ethan Shin's father and son. Taking a deep breath, she pulled me back who was going back to the hospital room. Lucas Wong, if you promise not to pursue this matter any further, I promise that I won't divorce you, and I'll spend more time home with you and Chinchin in the future. I snorted out a laugh. Victoria Jiang, what makes you think that? At this point in time, Morn and I would still want you. You're in a rage right now. I won't take your words of bravado seriously. Think about what I said. If you have to make a scene, you know, I'm also Chinchin's guardian. I can exercise a lot of rights too. Heh. Threatening me. I sneered and gave her a look, shook off her hand and returned to the hospital room. Touching Chinchin's still somewhat pale little face, I felt guilty to the core. If I had divorced Victoria Jiang earlier, wouldn't my Chinchin have gone through all this? Forcing back the tears in my eyes, I pulled out my cell phone, and the private messages from Chinchin's fans piled up all over the backstage. They asked me if it was true about morning's playback performance, and some said they didn't believe me. Some people said they didn't believe me, saying that they had been following Chinchin's videos for so long and didn't believe that Chinchin would play back performance. But they really hadn't seen Chin's 6-note arpeggio and begged me to give them the truth. I did not reply one by one as before, but took a picture of the flowers on the windowsill and edited the copy to send to the latest work. Don't worry, the truth will always come out, and justice will be done. After sending it, I immediately contacted the private investigator I found before. After getting Victoria Jiang cheating on many evidence, I sent these and the marriage certificate taken before to the social software. There were also some videos that I took when Chinchin practiced 6-note arpeggio over the past 3 years, as well as videos sent to me by my teacher, which were also posted in batches. Then contacted all the media and Versus I knew to ask them to help repost them. The ones who saw these first were the fans of the mornings. Needless to say, after seeing the photos, seeing the video, and then seeing Chinchin being hurt, their anger had been rushed to the peak. I didn't even have to hire a water army. They took the link and swiped through every post that said morning's playback performance. There has never been a hot search like ours that reversed 3 times a day. The netizens realized that Wang Chin, who was rumored not to have a mother, had more than a mother, and her mother was also a famous and powerful woman. But soon, netizens not only do not envy Chinchin, but also sympathize to death. The mother not only cheated, but also for the other woman's son shadowing himself. Under the sky there is more miserable than this. Victoria Jiang together with the program group all of a sudden became a street rat, everyone shouting. Victoria Jiang, in particular, has been spurned to the point where she has been greeted by all her ancestors. And Ethan Shin and his son didn't escape the new round of internet storms either. I didn't answer Victoria Jiang's phone call, but turned off my cell phone and massaged Chinchin's arm according to the doctor's instructions. To ease his pain, and to encourage blood flow. My Chinchin, he really is like an angel. Obviously his lips were bitten and bleeding from the pain, but he was also afraid of my heartache and sadness. Trying to raise his little face and say, "Daddy, Chinchin doesn't hurt at all, really." At 10 o'clock the next day, Victoria Jiang appeared at the lawyer's building in a rage. Seeing me sitting calmly at the table, she slapped the table with a crackling sound. "Lucas Wang, are you out of your mind? What exactly is in it for you to do this? Do you know that Jiang's popularity has plummeted because of you? And even the stock has started to fall continuously. Compared to her levity, I just calmly pushed the divorce agreement in my hand over. Of course I know that. So, I'm giving you two choices now. First, sign this agreement and return the company to me. Second, we mutually assured destruction, and you go out of debt. Victoria Jiang looked at me incredulously, her pupils so large that I could almost see my own reflection in them. Lucas Wong, you just want the company, right? I'm telling you, you're dreaming. I leaned into the back of the chair without a care in the world. Victoria Jiang, don't forget that this company was originally mine. The company's founder was me. The startup capital was also mine. Even after 8 years of being at home full-time, the company's difficult clients and excellent plans still came from my handwriting. This company, until today, it is still closely related to me. Victoria Jiang waved her hand. So what? Today, the legal person of this company is me. At this time, Lawyer Zhou also couldn't stand to watch and opened his mouth with a low smile. Ms. Jiang, even if it's a lawsuit, Mr. Wang can at least get half or even more of Jiang's share. Humph. Don't think I'll bow down. Lucas Wang, just make a scene. They'll see how long you make a scene. Victoria Jiang snorted coldly, kicked a chair and slammed the door. Lawyer Zhou looked at me worriedly, but I just smiled gently. It doesn't matter. From the beginning, I never intended that she would return the company to me so easily. After leaving the lawyer's building, I went to see an old friend I hadn't seen for a long time, Jiang's angel investor Yun Suqing. Yun Suqing, the investor, was the one I took for Jiang in the first place. Now that she saw me come to her again, she wasn't surprised at all. I saw on the internet about you and Mr. Jiang. How is the child today? I pursed my lips and smiled. A stranger is more concerned about the child than the child's own mother. The person is fine. Just suffer. Yun Suqing saw my face is not good. Immediately light smile to change the topic. Today to find me. Should be something right. Ahoo. I nodded and took out a contract from my bag and handed it to her. The investment contract for that project last time. I did it for Victoria Jiang, so I'm well aware of the profit points that Jiang can give you. As for me today, I would like to ask you for a favor to withdraw your investment from Jiang. After that, if I can successfully get the company back, they'll let you have 1 point of profit for the cooperation after that. Yun Suqing flipped through the contract and was silent for a long time before looking up at me from the contract. Do you know the consequences of doing this? Choosing to withdraw your investment at this time. In all likelihood, Jiang's as a business will have to declare bankruptcy and close down, carrying hundreds of millions of dollars in breach of contract, payouts, and so on. You are still legally married to Victoria Jiang now. The debt that will have to be shared. I smiled faintly. Don't worry, Mr. Yun. Since it's a setup, I've already arranged everything. I just want to get back what belongs to me. But there are some hard bones that always need to be gnawed on. Yun Suqing also smiled. All right. I'll do this favor. But I'm not looking at this 1 point of profit. But Victoria Jiang, this person, she's too disgraceful to us women. The public opinion on the internet fermented more and more seriously. Jiang's stock appeared to continue to go down. Chenchen's matter was also brought back to the attention of the police because of the netizens' verbal attacks. Chenchen's school was investigated. Qinzhou was expelled. And he and Ethan Shin hid at home and didn't dare to go out. As long as they go out, they will be hit by rotten eggs or unknown liquids. In front of his house, even the passing dogs have to pee. Ethan Shin cried more than once and called Victoria Jiang. But Victoria Jiang nowadays, how can she care about them? On one hand, she has to face the company's yellow project. And on the other hand, she has to face Yun Suqing's termination of contract. The most frustrating thing for her is that some of the partners who signed the contract are now risking the compensation and payment of liquidated damages to cancel the cooperation with her. When she couldn't bear it, Victoria Jiang thought of me. But I did not answer her calls. She had to find the hospital. The entrance to Chenchen's hospital room is now guarded by the bodyguards I hired, so she couldn't get in at all. She was stopped outside for a long time, waiting for me to put Chenchen to sleep, before I planned to see her. After just a few days of not seeing her, Victoria Jiang looked tired and haggard. There is only one word to describe her now. Useless. Seeing me come out, Victoria Jiang took 2 steps forward and tried to pull my hand. I took a step back and let her hand fall short. She was slightly embarrassed, but quickly raised her small face from new. Hubby, I've thought a lot during this period of time, and I've finally realized that I was wrong all along. I simply can't leave you and Chenchen. We are the family. Hubby, let's not divorce, okay? You give me another chance. I promise. I will break clean with Ethan Chen father and son and never see them again. In my heart, I felt ridiculous to the extreme. But I suddenly had a change of heart. Why isn't this a good time? So I swept her up and down skeptically. You mean it? Sure. Victoria Jiang's entire body relaxed at the sight of me seeming to be as good a coaxer as I had been in the past. I nodded. All right then. Go get back all the money you spent on Ethan Chen's father and son before and he'll believe you. Victoria Jiang frowned in embarrassment. Hubby, this is too much of a drop, right? I sneered. Drop in price. What you gave him to spend is all our joint marital property. You don't want it. I can get it back in the divorce lawsuit. Hearing the divorce lawsuit, Victoria Jiang nervous. Busy back. 2. I go not okay. Don't be angry. I raised my eyebrows in mock arrogance. Well, Victoria Jiang, don't even think about lying to me. Every penny you spend on them, I've actually investigated it clearly. Victoria Jiang blushed hard and brushed her head away. I pretended not to see it and intended to go back to the ward when she called me back. Husband. I turned back to look at her. Something else. She pursed her lips, hesitated for a long time, and shook her head. After 3 days. I do not know how Victoria Jiang coaxed Ethan Chen. He sold all those watches and jewelry, custom-made suits, and even the house he lived in. To get all the money together, Victoria Jiang was eager to get my trust. And the first time he got the money, he put it into my account. In just half a year, I have spent more than $37 million on this father and son. That's a lot of money. On the day I moved to the shabby rental house, Ethan Chen sent me a message. Lucas Wong, you're ruthless. I laughed lightly. Is this the best I can do? Don't worry, there's more. Victoria Jiang did not expect. I am not mentioned divorce, but also not mention help her words. Seeing that the delay cannot go on, she personally cooks a nutritious soup sent to the hospital. It is also rare. Married for 10 years. This is the first time Victoria Jiang cooked for us. But Ethan Shen and Shinja have eaten many meals cooked by her. Once upon a time, I thought only true love could make her condescend, but now it seems that there are also benefits. Only we, as her husband and children, cannot. I put the soup on the windowsill and asked her what she wanted. She looked into the hospital room. Honey, I want to see Morn. Hee. When Chin wanted her to see him, she didn't bother to look at him. Morn is asleep. Next time, just go home and you'll spend more time with Morn in the future. Victoria Jiang was unwilling, but she didn't dare to contradict me. After all, she is now begging me. So, after the silence, she cheekily made a request. Hubby, Mr. Yoon is withdrawing his capital now, and the company can't hold out any longer. Look at you have promised not to divorce. Those online, can you make a public statement again? And Mr. Yoon sighed. I went to beg. It seems that you can't help you. Can you help me again? The company is our too. If it really collapses, Chinchin will have to follow us to suffer in the future. I pondered for a few seconds and said, okay. On General Manager Yoon's side, they'll talk for you. But to speak out publicly online, I can't. If I stand out and say I forgive you at this time, Chinchin and I will become a new round of victims under the netizens' keyboards. And you wouldn't want to see us being scolded again, right? Although Victoria Jiang was a bit reluctant, it was true that Mr. Yoon's investment was more important than public opinion, so she had no choice but to harden her heart and agree with me. The next day, under Victoria Jiang's urging, I went to Yoon Suk-ing's company to have a cup of tea again. It was a real tea. Half a sentence did not talk about investment. When I left, I was like a morning exam. See Victoria Jiang sighed again and again. Mr. Yoon did not agree, but also scolded me. Said so many years have been wrong about me. Victoria Jiang's face instantly turned white and took a step backwards. You can't even. Then Jiang, is it really hopeless? Wife. What then? I frowned and grabbed her arm. She violently pushed me away. It's all your fault. Why did you have nothing to do with posting all this crap online? Now it's good. Nothing is left. Divorce. I'm divorcing you. The mourner. She seemed to growl and lost her mind, turned around and ran. I looked at her back. Did not expect her to flip so fast. Half an hour later, the company's finance Shawan sent me a message. Brother issue. Mr. Jiang asked me how much liquidity is still in the company's account. And I said it according to what you explained. Good job. Thank you, Xiao Wen. When this company was founded, there were quite a few people that I recruited into the company. Even though Victoria Jiang is in charge of the company, there are still people who are interested in me. Another day later, someone from both properties messaged me to tell me that Victoria Jiang had brought an agent to the door to look at the property, but she didn't have a real estate license and the agent left again. I laughed, trying to cash in on my assets. I had already hidden the real estate license and other things. She was dreaming. In the afternoon, there are a few companies that have not closed the payment of the company's boss with the appointment as if together to go to Jiang's to ask for the final payment. But the finance can't get a penny out. The bosses don't care, and immediately brought their assistants to live in the company. Victoria Jiang no longer hesitates to find an opportunity to slip out and ask me to talk about the divorce. I looked at the company's transfer contract. The heart is happy. Almost cannot help but laugh out. I buried my head and processed my emotions, thinking over all the sad things before I looked up again. A company that's about to go bankrupt. You think you'll still care about it? Victoria Jiang slapped the table in anger. You were the one who said you wanted the company in the first place. And isn't it all thanks to you that the company is like this now? I laughed sarcastically. I warned you in the beginning. Either the company is given to me or mutually assured destruction. You refused to give me the company. Now you want to throw me this mess. Don't you think it's too late? Lucas Wong, why is your heart so cruel? Am I the one who is cruel? Or are you the one who is heartless and thin-skinned? You are the one who said you wanted divorce. You are the one who said no. And now you are the one who is backtracking again. What? Lucas Wang, in your heart is so easy to bully people. Victoria Jiang saw that I had a rigid attitude and was really afraid that I would die with her, so she couldn't help but soften her attitude. Hubby, husband and wife, you don't want both of us to be stuck inside this deep pit, right? I grunted and laughed. There is nothing wrong with that. Dying together. This is called family. Victoria Jiang was really numb, scratching her hair in annoyance. Lucas Wong, just tell me, what do you want? What will it take for you to let me go? I looked at her quietly, just not opening my mouth. Until her face became more and more impatient. I said, Don't say that I don't remember old times. Give you a suite, $1 million in cash, and the rest. All belong to me. After all, if the company really goes bankrupt, I need money to fill the debt. Victoria Jiang rubbed up and stood up, her face turning blue. Lucas Wong, you're dreaming. What's the difference between you and asking me to net out my family? I also stood up. Then talk about it. Let your lawyer go through the process. Stand still. Victoria Jiang did not dare to let me go. She knew very well in her heart that with the state of the company today, it could declare bankruptcy at any time. If it dragged on, not only would she not get a penny, but she would also be saddled with a lot of debt. She gritted her teeth. 2 suites. Give me 2 suites and $10 million in cash. I cut out, turned around and walked away. She growled in anger. Lucas Wong, don't bully me too much. I didn't look back. If I really bully people too much, they'll just drag you down with me. Victoria Jiang, you should be happy that I am a person who remembers old times. Seeing that my hand was already on the doorknob, Victoria Jiang closed both eyes and compromised. I agree. Just sign the contract now. Satisfied, I turned around and walked over to the table to take the transfer contract and sign my big name. The divorce agreement lawyer had already drawn up a template. Now it just needed to be changed to distribute the property. As the lawyer made the changes, he asked, "So, who does the child go with?" Victoria Jiang didn't even think about it and pointed at me. With him. The lawyer looked at me. I lost my smile and shook my head. Victoria Jiang, haven't you ever thought about Chin following me? After the company goes bankrupt, how can I support him? Victoria Jiang frowns. Not caring at all. Of course it's more convenient for a boy to follow his father. I was speechless and immediately had my lawyer divide my son. I hadn't planned to let her have my son either. I just didn't expect that she would abandon him without any psychological burden. Signed the agreement. Victoria Jiang did not want to wait a moment. Immediately dragged me to the Civil Affairs Bureau to obtain a divorce license. I heard that there is a 30-day cooling-off period. Victoria Jiang immediately took out a knife than my neck. I can't wait. If you don't let us leave, they'll kill him now and then kill myself. The leader of the Civil Affairs Bureau, to see her divorce attitude, is so determined, but also afraid of real life, immediately stamped the seal. Victoria Jiang to go home to move things. I was afraid that she took away that a large pile of luxury goods. Immediately with her to go home. Considerate to her to pack a few pieces of inexpensive clothes stuffed suitcase to hand her. Let's go. The agreement is very clear. Only that suite. And $1 million. Other. You do not want to take away. Victoria Jiang, unwilling to look at her those big brand bags and jewelry. Hate to go. As soon as she went out, I hurriedly deleted her fingerprints and face from the door lock, and changed the password. Other houses. In the phone, also use remote intelligence to erase all her information, and notify all the business. The future does not allow this person to come in. After all this, and notify my old clients. Yoon Suching, the cooperation of the project cooperation up. The investment. Then rush to the hospital to tell the good news to Morn. Of course. After tossing and turning for so long, it is impossible to really have no impact on the company at all. I sold 5 suites and filled all the funds to cover the company's losses. As for the network public opinion, I changed the legal person and then released the video, announcing to the netizens that I had taken over Jiang's from the slag woman. The netizens shouted, saying that it was as if they had watched a big male lead cool drama. After Jiang's name was changed to Wang's, the stock also began to slowly return to normal. Yoon Suching doubled the investment capital again in order to support me. After Chin was discharged from the hospital, I completely utilized my skills and negotiated a lot of business for the company. As for Victoria Jiang, She took Ethan Shen and his son to find the address of the suite I gave, only to find that the area is a rotten house. No water and no electricity. Victoria Jiang mad. But at that time the company has not been good news. Victoria Jiang dare not look for me. Had to think of taking the body of the money to do something. The results of the killing plate cheated. Ethan Shen and Xinjin naturally cannot stand this kind of no-money days, and Victoria Jiang after a few quarrels and ran away. When Victoria Jiang saw him with another rich woman, she drove her car over the hill and Ethan Shen died. Xinjia was crippled at a young age, and the rich woman became cerebral palsy. The rich woman's family hated Victoria Jiang so much that they not only sent her to the police station, but also sentenced her to a heavy sentence, and Victoria Jiang had a hard time in jail. And during the years that Victoria Jiang was in jail, I developed Wang's business abroad and transitioned to investing in healthcare. Chenchen's hand is recovering well, but those scars will take a long time to recover. In order to accompany Chinchen out of the psychological shadow, I promoted Xiaowen to executive director of the company, and I was relieved to accompany him from time to go out for a trip, to take a break, and to see a psychiatrist. Chinchen became more and more confident, and finally in the streets of France, he once again showed his hands and played a song Love in the Mountains. When the song ended, there was a huge wave of applause around him. Chinchen jumped into my arms and smiled as brightly as before. Daddy, Morn feels so happy now. I kissed his forehead. Daddy too, no matter how many trials and tribulations one goes through in life. As long as the people who matter are by one's side, as long as one can keep moving forward, as long as one can still see the scenery of the journey, one will not lose the ability to be happy. Later, I heard that Victoria Jiang had been looking for us after her release. But not a single person told her about us. She traveled to many cities, living like a beggar, but still couldn't find out any news about us. As to whether she was looking for us for money or because of repentance, who knows? Anyway, Morning and I don't care anymore. End.